Hey everybody. It is 4:32 p.m. on Friday, December the 30th. I am the Wolfman, and hopefully you know who you are. I wanted to talk today about the phrase love all, serve all, and remember God. Now don't get too hung up on the word God. We'll get into that in a minute. But in the military, they used to tell us to be on the right place, be in the right place, at the right time, in the right uniform. And while I do not miss being in the military as a whole, I'm certainly much more free than I was when I was in the military. And ironically, when I was fighting for freedom, I was very much the Uniform Code of Military Justice and the rank structure is very much like a communist state. It's pretty crazy. So like everybody gets to be free except for the people fighting for freedom. It's not that different from the structure of jail. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I do miss a few things about it. One of the things that I miss is the simplicity of knowing you're doing the right thing. So like, if I showed up at the right place at the right time in the right uniform, somebody would tell me everything else that I needed to do. And if I was like out of stuff to do, I knew who was in charge and I could go up to them and say, hey, I'm done. Or if I tried to do the thing and it didn't work, I could go up and say, hey, I tried to do the thing. It didn't work for this reason. What do you want me to do next? Very simple. Like, I'm a smart cat. And, so sometimes this wasn't challenging enough for me, but it was very simple. And so you could kind of just like ride, like you could put your body on autopilot and you could just kind of live in your fantasy world and just, be. And it was actually pretty nice. It's kind of almost a monastic lifestyle if you want it to be. During the week. On the weekends, of course, it was the furthest thing from monastic. It was fucking drugs and sex and rock and roll. Mostly alcohol being the drug, but because they tested for everything else. But like legitimately, cocaine gets out of your system in 3 days. So if you got a 4-day weekend, what's really stopping you? Anyway, so then I got out of the military and I'm trying to live civilian life, and it's like, you could do anything you want. That sounds fantastic, except like it's also kind of panic inducing because like anything? That's too many things. Like, how am I supposed to consider all these things and pick which one that I want? And I've been, working to narrow that down ever since. And it's all good. But one thing I've found is that this phrase, love all, serve all, and remember God, has been the thing that I've used to replace the idea of being in the right place at the right time in the right uniform. So when I get overwhelmed and I get confused, I go, oh, that's right. So if I die and if I fail and if I, don't make anything out of myself, but the whole time I spent my life, I loved everybody and I served everybody and I remembered God, then it's okay. Because I'm going to die anyways, eventually. And everything that I do is going to get washed away in the tides of time. So whatever it is I'm freaking out about, it's really not that important in the really long run, because it's definitely going to end. Whatever I do is going to result in my death, like eventually. Like eating kale and fucking snorting meth are both going to result 100 years from now in me being dead. Maybe sooner, one way than the other, but like the death is coming. And then like, whoa, what's your legacy that you're going to leave behind? Nothing. Not long enough. Eventually, everything that I build here on Earth is going to get eaten by the sun when the Earth crashes into the sun. So, I've talked about that before. I've written about it extensively. Sandcastles, right? Everything is a sandcastle. It's all going to get washed away in the tides of time. So I don't need to go into that. But, like, okay, so like, how do I live in the meantime? And hold on, I got to answer a text that just came in. Okay, I'm back. How do I live in the meantime? Knowing that death and irrelevance are inevitable. That brings it back to like, okay, well then how do I want to spend my life? What kind of experiences do I want to have? And so a big part of that is this anxiety of feeling like you're not doing the right thing. If there is a right thing and you should be doing it, maybe you don't know what it is or whatever. And a remedy for that is this idea of love everybody, serve everybody, and remember God. Now, I want to briefly go over what each of these phrases means. Each of these, the three. I don't know what the word for it is. It seems like it's smaller than a phrase, but it probably is a phrase. The three phrases within the larger statement. So first, love everybody. What does this mean? And I won't spend too much time on this because I talk about it all the time, but love is like a radiation that comes out of you. The same way that a space heater radiates heat and a light bulb radiates light, you can radiate love. So think about something that you're in love with. One thing that when you think about it, you're like, you know what, if I could be doing that, maybe it's fishing, maybe it's going to the bar and drinking on karaoke night with your friends, maybe it's a beautiful girl that you don't know very well, so you don't know anything that's wrong with her yet. But when you think about her, it makes you smile because she's lovely and she's nice and she's happy all the time, or maybe it's like a puppy or something that evokes this feeling in you. Now, hold on to that feeling and disconnect it from the reason that you're feeling it. And then just hold that feeling and pay attention to something else. You can look at something innocuous like your refrigerator. And you've got that love feeling in your heart, and then you look at your refrigerator with the love feeling, and you go, "Oh, it's nice. It's a pleasant refrigerator. It's white. It's got a good color scheme for the kitchen, and it allows me to store food." So that I don't have to run out every day to go find fresh food. I can go to the grocery store once a week, and because of my refrigerator, the food stays fresh. And you start thinking things like this because you're holding the love vibration or feeling or whatever, if you don't like the word vibration, in your heart and your mind. You're holding this idea of love, this feeling of love. You look at a different object of attention, and it can be, I wouldn't look at somebody that you hate first for this. Try it on something easy like a light socket or something that doesn't really have much of an emotional charge on you, and be like, yeah, okay. The things that you take for granted are great to look at with the love feeling, and you go, oh, you know what? Mirrors are actually awesome. I don't know how I would comb my hair without them, and it's just whatever. So you turn on the feeling of love, which is easy to do by thinking about something like a puppy or a kitten that personally that ignites this feeling within you, and then holding it, disconnecting it from the object that created the love within you, and like looking at something that you take for granted, right? Okay, and then you practice this a long enough time, and then so this is how I want to feel no matter what my object of attention is. So even that person I hate, eventually I want to have this love feeling and look at him and see the positive aspects. Right? I mean, Hitler's a convenient shorthand for the thing that everybody hates, right? So we go, okay, well, what about Hitler? Well, I mean, he was a hell of a public speaker. Like the content of his messages weren't very good, but he was fucking charismatic. You got to give it to him. Things like that. Now, again, racism is bad, and burning people is bad, and like I don't condone anything that Hitler did, but he's a convenient shorthand for the hated person. And if you want to love everybody, that's going to include Hitler and Stalin and Jeffrey Dahmer and fucking, everybody. Literally anything that if you are a lover and you just love everything that you love, then anything you pay attention to is going to get love from you. And you don't have to love it because it's good. That's the important thing. If I were to pass a judgment on Hitler and Stalin and Pol Pot and Jeffrey Dahmer, I go, no, that's bad. Don't live your life like that. But I don't have to pass that judgment. I can just non-judgmentally love them. Fucking Jesus loves them, right? Jesus loves Hitler. He does. So fucking throw the first stone, I guess. Whatever. I think I find myself in pretty good company there. I don't think, I don't think Buddha would punch a Nazi. I don't, so, I don't think that Jesus or Buddha would be fucking wearing a red armband either. But I don't I don't think they'd go around punching Nazis. But I don't want to talk about that. I'm just saying, love everything. So if you find yourself confused and overwhelmed and you're like, I don't know what the right thing to do, but I don't know. I don't think I'm doing it. Relax, because you love everybody, you serve everybody. Remember God. Service. Serve everybody. It's not like a servant serving a king. It's like the way the gears in a transmission serve each other. The transmission works because all the gears do their job. Okay? So there's no king of the transmission. They're all just gears. But if you take one of the gears out, the thing stops working. So the gears serve each other. So I serve you, you serve me. None of us is elevated above. Nobody's below. Nobody's like a serving class and nobody's a ruling class. None of that. It's in the way that gears in a transmission serve each other. Serve the whole and serve each other. Everybody is working towards the same goal. So it's in service of this goal. If anything is superordinate to the individual gears, it is the purpose of transmitting power from the engine to the wheels. And so they are in service of transmitting power from the engines to the wheels at the appropriate times and amounts. So that is the service. The service is a higher goal. It's not the king. It's not the fucking whatever. It's not another person. It's not another individual. It's in service of the higher thing. Okay. So that's serve all. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to put myself below everybody. It's like, no, I'm going to work with everybody. I'm going to facilitate everybody. I'm going to be a gear in the machine of making a better world. Okay, so love everybody, serve everybody, remember God. Now this is the trickiest one because a lot of us that were raised in religious cults and other types of like fundamental, people that thought they were right and thought that their religious fundamentalism or purity was more important than our happiness and well-being, we might be a little bit butthurt about the word God. So I'm not talking about Jehovah unless Jehovah makes you happy. If Jehovah makes you happy, then remember Jehovah. If the universe makes you happy, then remember the universe. If it's Jesus, if it's fucking Muhammad, if it's any of the Hindu gods, they can be fun, because, well, they can be fun. Because they're animals and it's cool. It's like a cartoon superhero religion, Hinduism. Like I fucking love it. I love it as a group of stories. Like the stories from Hindu religion are great. So remember God. That just means like you're washing the dishes and it's like, how does this help? How does this help? Like I have to do it because I need clean dishes to eat off of. But like, can I use washing the dishes as a method to get closer to God? Can I have a conversation with the universe about truth while I'm washing the dishes? And that's what it means to remember God. So whatever God you serve, and even if you're an atheist, you're serving something. And it might be yourself. It might be yourself, but that's going to be more specific than that. It's your own well-being. It's your own happiness. It's money. Whatever your God is, fucking remember it and be like, okay, so let me have a conversation with the spirit of whatever it is. Science. You want to fucking worship science? Go for it. Like you want to like, let me think about the way the molecules are interacting and let me like have a conversation with my subconscious mind. I think that's probably the best God for an atheist is your own subconscious mind. Let me have a conversation with my subconscious mind while I'm washing the dishes and see if I can make my life a little bit better out of this. So moving forward into the new year, right? Doesn't matter. Every day is a new day. Every time you stop and let your mind go silent and the darkness falls and the silence descends upon your mind, then out of the silence and darkness, the dance can begin again, and it can begin again in a whole new way. Every moment is an opportunity for New Year's. But in this new year, which we are actually all moving forward into, there's a lot of like positive change energy going on with this. If you find yourself overwhelmed, you find yourself confused and you're not sure what you should do, fucking love everybody, serve everybody the way the gears in a transmission serve each other, and remember the highest goal or the highest ideal that you are trying to do, and try to make every one of your mundane tasks in service and in remembrance and in conversation with that higher thing. That's what I think, but what do I know? I'm a trickster and a fool.